Hello and welcome to my second video in my Introduction to Python Programming series. In the last one we talked just about the very beginning of the third section of the documentation, which is just covering numbers and how you can operate on numbers. We got everything up to strings in this section. And one other thing I wanted to mention, it's not relevant to if you're writing in a file or in an actual file that'll be run as a program, but in the interpreter, if you have an output and you press underscore, it'll return what this value was, the last executed value. So you can use that in basic math as well. So if we say 5 plus that number, it'll say 55, and then we can just keep running this and it'll increment by 5 each time because it takes the last output and puts it in as, it's kind of like answer on your calculator. If you hit answer, then it takes the output of that last equation that you put in and it treats it as one of the operators or operands to the next set of numbers. But in this one we're going to cover string literals real quick. So a string literal is kind of like when I'm trying to print. I say print hello. Hello is a string. And so there are a few things about strings that they always have to be surrounded in either double quotes, single quotes, or triple quotes of either double or single, like this. So any of these combinations of quotations will be treated as a string. Just to demonstrate that, we can do print on each of these. And print just returns the output, or returns whatever you put in to it, to the command line. So print hello, we can also do it with single quotes, and then a little more complicated with triple quotes. Usually you see these in doc strings or strings that are supposed to be interpreted a certain way by the interpreter. Usually when you're documenting how a function works within the code, they'll do what's called a doc string. And so it'll cover issues you might run into, reasons why you might do this. If you try to do things that require a quote or a double quote somewhere, you'll have a collision where if I did single quotes all throughout this, it would have an issue about, I don't know what S means because it's only looking at this first it. So if I were going to do it this way, you'd have to use what's called an escape character or escape sequence, and just putting a backslash in front of this one tells the program, treat this next character literally as what it is. Don't interpret it as something else. And I'll get my its again. You also have an issue with backslash in because that's an escape character as well. A few common escape characters you'll see are, in fact I'll just go down here, backslash n, backslash r, backslash a, backslash u, backslash t. So in order, this is a new line character. If you're reading the string and you could see the white spaces, you'd see that a new line character is usually at the end of everything, and it tells the command, or whatever's interpreting it, start putting whatever text follows on the next line here. Backslash r is kind of the same in that this is a new line character and this is a carriage return character. So back in the day, a new line character even on Windows, I think still a new line character only caused it to go to the next line. And you can see that if I just drag my cursor straight down, it puts me here, not over here. And that's what a \r is, a carriage return. It returns the cursor to the beginning of the line. \a is actually a fun one. It makes a sound. Usually if your system has some kind of a speaker on the motherboard, you can hear it make a sound, a beeping sound. And this is just a bell sound, bell character. This denotes the following characters as being Unicode, I believe. And \t is a tab. So this is like a tab. This is a tab. Anything that's indented with a tab character inserts a tab. So these are characters that you'll see commonly in a string literal, but they're not things you'll see. They're not visible. And I don't know if I can make my terminal beep if I put in an alert. Yeah, you can't even, I don't imagine you can hear it. It has to be, sometimes it has to be configured, because a lot of modern motherboards don't have the little piezo speakers built into the motherboard that make this beeping sound. So either you have to look into it, but it's interesting if you can get it working. Oh, and here they demonstrate the doc string. So yeah, this is usually what you'll see inside of code. And there's a special way to get it. You have to tell Python to interpret it, or to print it out. You have to be specific, and it has a specific name for printing it out. This introduces, so whenever you do assignment, and I've spoken about assignment before, you can make a variable. We can just call it var, short for variable, and we can assign it a string. Hello. Now whenever we type var, we'll get hello. If we want to print var, we just put var inside of the print function, and it'll print hello. It also gets rid of these little quotes. You normally won't see var just written like this in a script. You'll see it inside of something or doing something. It won't just be on its own line like this. It'll be used somewhere. And we can get, the way it's showing these, it also introduces concatenation. I've spoken about concatenation in my command line series. So if we wanted to add some stuff to var, just like I said with numbers in my last video, you can do addition, well, you can't do subtraction. You can do addition as a short form of concatenation. So we can type hello world. That's a common string for people to use as an introductory thing for testing programming languages if they've never done it. It's a common thing. And you'll get hello world. Now, this doesn't persist. If I print var, it'll only say hello, because we haven't assigned this to anything. Just like if we say 5 plus 3, or 5 plus 6, is 11, that doesn't change the value of 5 here. We have to make we have to assign it to a variable. So we can do var, we can just reuse var, and then type var again, plus world. Now var has been reassigned. If we type var now, we get hello world, and if we try to print it, we get hello world. It's been changed. And we can get to how that works later, because why this works is kind of complicated. Just know that if you want to change the value of var, you have to use var plus something else. one thing I didn't cover in the numbers section was that variables are well, you can assign values, like mathematical values as well. But also notice that you can reassign var, and I've mentioned. So you can also do this stuff with strings. So if I said, this is kind of wacky, and I have never had a real reason for doing this. If I wanted to say hello 3 times in var, I can do that. Now there's 3 hellos in var. So another thing you can do, let's reassign var to 5. We can do special assignments that augment how equals works. So you see I do assignment here. If I wanted to do an addition, I was doing like this, var plus 5. And if I did that, then var would be 10. But if I want a shorthand for doing this, instead of writing the variable again every time, we can do plus equals. Plus equals says take the value on the left and add what's on the right and reassign it to the variable on the left. Now var is 15. We can also do times equals. Now it's 75. Divide by equals. Now it's 15. Minus equals. Oh. Now I've subtracted 5. Let's see. I did times equals. Modulus equals. This should be 2 now, or 0. So it evenly divides this number, so the remainder of that is 0. I don't know if you can just a little test real quick. I don't know if you do like floor equals. Oh wait, this should be 1 then. Yeah. So you can do integer division. Really, you'd have to look it up exactly, all of the augmented assignments, and that's what they're called. Maybe we'll talk about it later. Right now it's talking about strings, and I apologize for going on that tangent. So we'll have hello. So var is hello now. And what it introduces here is what's called index notation, where if you put afterwards, so you take your variable and then you take left and right brackets with a number inside. This number says what index or what character you're looking at. So if we look at character 2, all arrays and all things that have indexing start at index 0. So the very first one's always index 0. And then you count to 2, 1, 2, we'll get an L character returned. And there it is. It also has this negative indexing notation. That's treating the end as the beginning if you use negatives. So, but it doesn't start at 0 because 0 cannot be negative. You can't have negative 0. It's not a thing. So that just gives you 0, the 0th one. But if I say negative 1, that'll give me the last character. And likewise, if I say negative 2, it'll give me an L. Negative 3 will give me an L. So it treats negative 1 as the very last character and then works backwards. Whereas if you're doing it the other way, you go forwards. Some other things that it introduces are this segmentation of the indexes called slicing indices. So this says from the first one to the second one. So if we wanted the third character to the last character, so 0, 1, 2, 3, minus 1. So it doesn't go up to the number. If you wanted it to the end, like this, LO. But the second one, it goes up to, but doesn't include that index. And you can also write the string backwards if you wanted. So if we said the last character to the first character, and there's a third one, which is the step. If you step backwards 1, maybe if I wrote like, we almost have it. Maybe if I wrote 0. So see that this doesn't get you anything because you can't, it only works forwards. It only walks forwards. If we tell it to walk backwards, it'll go up to the 0th index but not include it. That's why we're not getting the H here. But you can omit that character as well. So do it like this and you'll get hello backwards. I think that's enough for this video. In the next video we'll go over, we've covered everything up to, length. I can demonstrate length right now. But we've covered everything that this talks about. You can concatenate, and I've shown that. So length just says, length is a built-in function that returns how long something is. And it doesn't only apply to strings like hello. It says there's 5 characters. You can also do sentences. So we say var. We can do var plus equals hello world, nice day today. Okay, so now if we print var, we get hello world, nice day today. And we do length, and we pass var to it. We'll say there's 27 characters, and I bet you this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 characters. So yeah, length returns how many of a thing in the array there are. We'll get to some other use of length in the next section, which apparently covers lists. Join me for that video.